you for joining me. Today we're going to show you how to make this pop-up picture card. I don't know what exactly to call it. Got the idea from Tanu Creative. When you open it up, these little pictures pop out, open, close, and they just kind of pop out. And then it has a nice little place for a pocket and a sentiment. And I made a nice little tag to put in that pocket. You could put a gift card or something there, or tape the gift card to the back of your tag you make to put in there. Just a neat little holiday card that it would be fun to share with anybody of any age. So we're going to show you how to get that together, and I have a place to put the message on the back. You can do it however you want. The first thing is taking the card base, which is just a I think it's 11.5 inches card base. I made this so that it cuts out on a Cricut, and 11.5 is about as big as you can make a card base for Cricut. And you just fold at the first fold line, burnish with a bone folder on both sides. I like to make sure that my folds open very easily, and it is kind of essential for this card that the card opens easy without a catch. I'll even fold it the opposite way just to make sure that the fold lines work. And then you can decorate how you choose. All right, so now we're going to show you how to put the mechanism together that's going to actually make the images pop. So I did solid square lines for this file. I thought with the pressure from opening that they probably do better with a solid square line than the dotted square lines, which I usually do. So you're going to want to fold and burnish on the square lines. I do it both ways just to make sure that everything works seamlessly. And then there are two tabs at the end. You want to fold those both as valley folds. And then you will take, and you can see the little crisscross pattern that you have there. There's an X, and then there's a line through the middle. So you're going to want to fold in the first corner like so. And then do the opposite way and fold out the other corner. Makes a nice little X pattern. And then you can see that straight fold line through. You're going to do another valley fold on that and burnish it. So then you have all your fold lines scored, and you just burnish it until it folds seamlessly. So you have mountain, valley, mountain when you turn it over, and you're going to just work those folds real well. Make sure they all do well. And then you are going to kind of push with your fingers and get the triangles on either side to come to a point like so. This is more complicated. It looks complicated, but it's really not. If you get those fold lines burnished well, you can see. Now it kind of makes this little arrow shape with the paper. So your tab, arrow, and then I get my bold folder into the corners there. So it makes this little arrow with a nice little tab at the end. If you flip it over, you can see it still looks like an arrow, but you can see that the triangles on top are folded in. And you're going to take your card base and you're going to open it up, and you want it to fit right on that fold line. So you're going to take glue, and I use the quick stick glue for this because I don't want it to move around. Usually I'd use Beacon 3-in-1, but the quick stick glue like art glitter glue or Scotch glue will stick faster, and there's no risk of it moving once you get it in place. So get a nice cover on that tab, and then you're just going to butt that tab right up to the score line on your base and try to get it right in the middle of the card, like so. And then you're going to fold your arrow over like that. And I'm just checking to make sure I got it centered for the most part. You should have about the same space on both sides. If you don't, your squares will end up popping on the outside of your card, and you don't want that to happen. So there you go. Oh, and I did not get enough glue. I've decanted my glue into these thin-tipped glue bottles, which is great in theory, but sometimes it keeps it from getting enough glue to actually make contact to the paper. So I'm just going to, once again, put the edge of the tab up against the fold line and then fold it over. So the edge of the arrow, the start of the arrow, doesn't actually make the fold line, but then you fold the card back together, and then I use a bone folder just to push all that down. Make sure that it's making contact with the fold line. You can see when you open it, the mechanism's actually folded across the paper like that. And then I'm going to fold my tab under after I put some glue on. Fold my tab under. And you're going to stretch out that arrow all the way like so. Fold your tab down, and you're just going to make it like the full rectangle of the paper. Stretch it across, fold the tab down, and stick it to your paper like so. So when you open the card, the mechanism's actually completely open. When you close the card, the mechanism closes. So when the card's closed, it has that arrow shape, but when it's opened, it's actually a full rectangle, like so. Once again, I did not get enough glue on this. So when you're gluing this, use the quick grab glue, but maybe not use it with a thin-tipped bottle, and that should help you out a lot, as well as let it set for a couple minutes before you open it. I have a tendency not to want to wait, and that is not a good thing when you're trying to make these cards with the mechanisms. So once you get it all in, then you're going to glue your little tabs on like so. After all your inside tabs are decorated, you can go ahead and assemble them into the card. So that allowed me to get my mechanism to dry, and now it's ready to go. So you can see that I have 4 little triangles here, actually 6. And you're going to want to put glue on the right side of this triangle, and only there, because you don't want it to stick together. And then you're just going to glue the very corner of that square, and you want to make sure that it doesn't go outside the edges of the card. And you don't want glue to go on the outside of that little triangle, because you don't want this to stick together when you go to open it. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to do the bottom triangle on the right side. Just get a fair amount of glue. And then you're going to put your second square right there. You don't want it touching the other one. You want a nice, obvious space, but you also don't want it to go below the edge of the card. So when it opens, it stays contained within the length of the card. And then you want to burnish it, and you can see that when you go to close it, it folds those squares in. And then I just kind of squeeze everything together and make sure nothing sticks out of the card when I close it. And then when I open it, it should all be contained within the space of the card. Now for the middle piece, which I also already decorated, you're just going to glue in this little arrow section of the mechanism. Once again, I'm using the quick grab glue for this just simply because it sticks to the paper easier. You don't want it to move around when you're trying to get the card mechanism to move. So the Beacon 3-in-1 probably not the best one for this. So I am using the quick grab glue. And then you're just going to put this flush with the edge of the mechanism and let it stick. Then you're ready to decorate the card as you choose, making sure everything works and is good to go. You can start decorating like so. And there you have it, the finished card with the decorations. And when you open up, those little pictures pop out. I used Craft Consortium papers and toppers to do this card because they're pretty easy to add. And then it comes with coordinating gems. And like I said, the back is a great place to write your message. And you can see I made a couple different ones with different toppers. And I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for joining me.